Have you ever been in a heated argument, feeling like you're about to explode? Maybe it was a confrontation at work, a dispute with a friend, or even an online debate that left you fuming. We've all been there, locked in conflict, driven by anger, and tempted to fight back. But what if I told you that the most powerful way to defeat your enemy is not through force, but through wisdom? The ancient Stoics, masters of self-control and reason, knew that true strength comes from within. They believed that victory isn't about overpowering others, but about mastering yourself. In this video, you'll discover 13 powerful Stoic strategies inspired by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Tactics that will help you navigate conflict, disarm your enemies, and come out stronger, without ever throwing a punch or raising your voice. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to control your emotions and stay calm under pressure. Outsmart your opponents by understanding their mindset. Use strategic silence, humor, and persuasion to turn conflict into advantage. Free yourself from unnecessary battles and find true peace. Some of these lessons will challenge the way you think about power. Others may seem counterintuitive at first, but I promise, if you apply them, they will change the way you handle conflict forever. So, are you ready to learn the Stoic way to victory? Stay until the end, because the final lesson is the most powerful of all. And if you find value in this, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below, because mastering conflict begins with mastering ourselves. Let's begin. Number 1. Enter your opponent's mind. In every battle, the one who understands their opponent has already won half the fight. Yet, most people rush into conflict fueled by emotion, assumptions, and a need to be right. The Stoics took a different approach. They knew that true power comes not from overpowering others, but from understanding them. Epictetus once said, "It is not events that disturb us, but our judgment of them." When you're in conflict, it's easy to assume the worst, to see the other person as unreasonable, hostile, or even malicious. But what if you could step beyond your emotions and into their mind? What if, instead of reacting, you took a moment to see the world from their perspective? This is the first Stoic strategy for mastering conflict. Before you respond, seek to understand. Instead of seeing your opponent as an enemy, view them as a puzzle. What are their motivations? What fears or insecurities drive their actions? What is their true goal beyond the words they are saying? Imagine a heated argument at work. A colleague dismisses your idea in a meeting, and you feel the urge to retaliate. A common reaction would be to get defensive, to argue your point aggressively. But a Stoic approach would be different. You would pause, take a step back, and ask, why did they respond this way? Are they feeling insecure about their own ideas? Are they under pressure from a higher up? Do they see you as a threat? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. Instead of assuming bad intentions, assume ignorance, fear, or misunderstanding. This simple shift in perspective disarms conflict before it escalates. One way to practice this is through active listening. When your opponent speaks, don't just wait for your turn to respond. Listen for their underlying concerns. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of countering their argument, say, "Help me understand why this is important to you." When you do this, something powerful happens. They stop seeing you as an adversary and start seeing you as someone who actually listens. Delaying your reaction, choosing silence instead of impulse, gives you power over yourself. And when you have power over yourself, Nothing external can disturb your peace. The Stoic practice of silence in anger. So how can you apply this in real life? 1. Pause before speaking. The moment you feel anger rising, resist the urge to speak immediately. Count to 3. Take a deep breath. Let the surge of emotion pass before responding. 2. Ask yourself a Stoic question. Will what I say next make this situation better or worse? If the answer is worse, choose silence. 3. Shift your perspective. Is this moment truly worth losing your peace over? If someone insults you, does their opinion define your worth? If a mistake happens, does anger solve it? Detach from negativity. See the bigger picture. 4. Speak only when you can add value. When your mind is clear, then choose your words wisely. Stoicism is not about never speaking, it is about speaking with purpose and wisdom. The strength of restraint. Many people mistake silence for weakness, but in reality, the ability to stay silent in moments of anger is one of the highest forms of self-discipline. Anyone can react, but it takes true wisdom to remain still. So the next time you feel anger rising, remember, silence is not surrender. It is strategy. It is self-mastery. It is the mark of a true Stoic. And now, let's move to another situation where silence is your greatest ally when facing unfair criticism. Number 2, choose your battles wisely. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument needs your energy. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that wasting time on every conflict only leads to exhaustion, distraction, and emotional turmoil. Instead, they mastered the art of choosing their battles wisely, focusing only on what truly mattered and letting go of the rest. Seneca reminds us, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. In moments of conflict, emotions can cloud judgment. We react impulsively, defending our pride rather than our peace. But what if, instead of reacting immediately, you paused, took a step back and asked, is this battle truly worth my time and energy? Imagine being stuck in a long line at the grocery store, watching someone cut ahead. Your instinct might be to confront them, to prove a point. But what does this battle truly accomplish? Does it serve your higher purpose, or does it simply drain your energy? Now imagine a different scenario. A situation at work where someone is taking credit for your ideas. This is a battle worth considering. Your professional integrity, your long-term reputation, these things matter. The Stoic approach is to distinguish between minor disturbances and meaningful challenges. Marcus Aurelius offers a simple yet powerful lesson. You always have the power to have no opinion. This doesn't mean ignoring every conflict, but rather recognizing that many battles are simply distractions. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Will engaging in this conflict bring me peace or just more stress? The key to choosing your battles wisely is clarity of purpose. If your goal is inner peace, then some conflicts are best avoided. If your goal is justice, then you must engage with wisdom and strategy. A Stoic does not avoid conflict out of fear, but out of strength. They fight only when necessary, and even then, they fight with reason, not rage. A practical way to apply this is through the Stoic cost-benefit analysis. Before engaging in conflict, consider 1. The emotional cost. Will this argument drain your energy for the rest of the day? 2. The long-term impact. Will this fight improve your life, or will it just cause unnecessary tension? 3. The principle involved. Does this battle align with your values, or is it simply a matter of ego? Next time you find yourself on the verge of conflict, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this battle necessary? If it is, approach it with calm and strategy. If not, walk away with your peace intact, because true strength lies not in fighting every battle, but in knowing which ones are worth your time. If you want to master the art of Stoic strategies for conflict, stay with us, because the next lesson will take your understanding even deeper. Stoic teachings. Today is here to help you transform conflict into wisdom. Number 3. Speak with calm and clarity. Words have power. They can escalate a conflict or dissolve it. They can turn an enemy into an ally or an argument into a war. The way you speak determines the outcome of every confrontation. The Stoics understood this well. Instead of reacting with anger or aggression, they mastered the ability to speak with calm and clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. In moments of conflict, this principle is key. Instead of blaming, criticizing, or reacting impulsively, a Stoic speaks with control. They do not let anger dictate their words. They do not raise their voice to prove a point. They communicate with wisdom, reason, and composure. Imagine this. You're in a heated discussion at work. A colleague is challenging your ideas, speaking louder and more aggressively. You have two choices. You can match their tone, escalating the tension, or you can take a deep breath, slow down your words, and respond rather than react. A composed voice has far more influence than an angry one. Stoic strategies for conflict emphasize clarity over chaos. Seneca advises, "He who is quick to anger is slow to reason." When emotions run high, clarity disappears. But when you pause, when you choose your words carefully, you take control of the conversation. You shift from reacting to leading. To practice this, follow 3 Stoic techniques. Pause before responding. 1. Take a breath. Let the emotions settle. This small delay allows you to choose words that build bridges, not barriers. Use I statements, not accusations. Instead of saying, "You never listen," say, "I feel unheard in this conversation." This reduces defensiveness and opens space for resolution. 3. Lower your voice instead of raising it. The quieter you speak, the more people listen. A calm voice commands attention far more than a loud one. Speaking with calm and clarity is not weakness, it is strength. It gives you the power to navigate any conflict with wisdom. It protects your inner peace while influencing those around you. A Stoic knows that the true battle is not about winning the argument, but about mastering their own emotions. So, the next time you face conflict, choose your words carefully. Speak slowly. Speak with purpose. Speak like a Stoic. Because true power lies not in shouting, but in being heard. The next lesson in Stoic strategies for conflict will take you even deeper. Stay with us on Stoic teachings today and learn how to transform every confrontation into an opportunity for wisdom. Number 4. Seek common ground. Every conflict feels like a battle. 2 sides, standing firm, unwilling to yield. But what if there was another way? A path not of opposition, but of understanding. The Stoics teach us that conflict does not exist because people are inherently against each other. It exists because they fail to see what unites them. Instead of fighting to win, a Stoic seeks to find common ground. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, whenever someone wrongs you, consider, what is their perspective? What do they see? This shift in mindset is crucial. Instead of focusing on the differences, focus on the shared values, the mutual goals, the deeper human connection beneath the disagreement. Imagine a situation where you're in a heated argument with a colleague. They refuse to see your side. You feel frustrated, even angry. But before reacting, pause. Ask yourself, what do we both want? You might realize that you're both seeking the same outcome, just from different approaches. By shifting your mindset from me versus them to us versus the problem, you create a new path forward. Stoic strategies for conflict emphasize that real strength lies in understanding, not domination. Seneca advises, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." When you take the time to truly listen, not just to the words, but to the emotions behind them, you begin to uncover the real cause of the conflict. To practice this, follow 3 Stoic techniques. 1. Find the shared goal. Ask yourself, what does the other person value? Even in disagreements, there is often a common foundation, whether it's respect, fairness, or simply wanting to be heard. 2. Reframe the conflict. Instead of seeing it as a battle to win, view it as a puzzle to solve together. This small shift changes the energy of the conversation from confrontation to cooperation. 3. Use neutral, open-ended questions. Instead of saying, "You don't understand," try asking, "Help me understand your perspective." This lowers defenses and opens the door to meaningful dialogue. Seeking common ground does not mean giving in or compromising your values. It means recognizing that every person has their own struggles, their own fears, and their own reasons for the way they act. It means choosing to see the humanity in your opponent rather than the conflict itself. When you apply this Stoic wisdom, conflicts become opportunities for connection. You reduce stress, improve relationships, and develop an inner strength that is unshaken by external tension. So the next time you find yourself in a disagreement, ask, where do we align? Look for the common ground, because the strongest warriors are not those who conquer others, but those who master the art of peace. Stay with us on Stoic Teachings today as we explore the next powerful Stoic strategy for handling conflict with wisdom and grace. Number 5. Appeal to their core values. Every conflict is fueled by something deeper than just words or actions. It's rooted in values. Beneath every heated argument, every clash of opinions, and every moment of resistance, there are deeply held beliefs that guide how people think and react. The Stoic approach to conflict is not about overpowering an opponent, proving them wrong, or forcing compliance. Instead, it's about understanding what truly matters to them and framing the discussion in a way that speaks to their core values. Epictetus reminds us, make it your business to draw out the best in others by being an example of what is noble and good. Rather than engaging in direct confrontation, a Stoic looks for alignment. Instead of pushing against resistance, they redirect energy towards mutual understanding. This is not manipulation. It is the art of persuasive wisdom, rooted in respect for the principles that shape another person's worldview. Imagine you are locked in a disagreement with a colleague. The discussion grows tense, and neither of you seems willing to budge. You are frustrated, and so are they. You could escalate, raising your voice, pushing your argument harder, but this will only deepen the divide. A Stoic, however, pauses and reflects. What is actually driving their reaction? What do they value that makes them take this stance? If they pride themselves on fairness, appeal to their sense of justice. If they value loyalty, recognize their commitment to their perspective. Instead of clashing, you build a bridge by speaking to what they already hold dear. Marcus Aurelius offers this wisdom. If someone is mistaken, instruct them kindly and show them their error, but do not mock them. The goal is not to defeat them. It's to bring clarity and understanding. No one willingly abandons their beliefs when attacked, but when approached with reason and respect, they may reconsider. How to apply this Stoic strategy in conflict? Identify their core values. People do not hold on to positions without reason. Ask yourself, what is at the heart of their argument? Is it honor, integrity, security, justice? Look deeper than the words they speak. Identify what truly motivates them. Once you recognize their core value, you have a path forward. Frame your argument in alignment with their beliefs. Rather than saying, "You're wrong," a Stoic shifts the perspective. "I know you care about fairness, so let's make sure we both feel heard." If they value loyalty, show how your perspective aligns with their desire to protect what matters. By doing this, you remove unnecessary friction and open the door to rational discussion. Acknowledge their values before offering an alternative. People resist change when they feel their principles are being dismissed. Acknowledge their perspective first. For example, "I respect that you value tradition, and I can see why that's important. But let's also consider how adapting to new information can strengthen those traditions." By doing so, you validate their viewpoint, which makes them more receptive to yours. Be the example of the values you want them to see. Words alone are weak. If you want to influence someone, demonstrate the principles you wish to convey. If you want them to be more patient, remain calm. If you want them to act with reason, be the embodiment of logic. People are far more likely to listen when they see consistency between words and actions. Recognize that influence is a process, not an instant result. A single conversation is unlikely to change deeply ingrained beliefs. But over time, as you consistently align your reasoning with their core values, you create a space for transformation. As Seneca puts it, "Time discovers truth." Be patient. Lead with wisdom. Let their own values guide them to a new perspective. Why this Stoic approach works? Appealing to core values is not about manipulation, it's about understanding. It removes the ego-driven desire to win and replaces it with the goal of clarity and connection. Instead of exhausting yourself in endless battles, you learn to navigate conflict with precision, choosing words and actions that resonate rather than provoke. When you master this approach, you reduce hostility, enhance mutual respect, and increase the likelihood of resolution. You no longer need force, aggression, or dominance to gain cooperation. You simply speak to what already holds meaning for them. So the next time you find yourself facing opposition, take a step back. Listen, observe, identify what truly matters to them. Then, instead of fighting against their beliefs, use their own values as the foundation for understanding. This is the Stoic way. Stay with us on Stoic Teachings today as we explore the next powerful lesson in Stoic Strategies for Conflict, helping you navigate challenges with wisdom, patience, and inner strength. Number 6. Use humor to diffuse tension. Tension is like a tightly wound rope. Pulling harder only makes it worse. But sometimes, instead of pulling, you simply let go. Humor is one of the most powerful tools to release tension, shift perspectives, and create a space where conflict can be approached with clarity instead of hostility. It is not about making light of serious matters, but about loosening the emotional grip of a heated moment so that reason can prevail. The Stoics, despite their reputation for discipline and seriousness, understood the power of well-placed humor. Seneca once said, "It is more fitting for a man to laugh at life than to lament over it." A Stoic does not waste energy lamenting, nor do they engage in unnecessary emotional escalation. Instead, they seek ways to maintain balance, and humor, used wisely, can be a shortcut to restoring perspective. Why humor works in conflict resolution. When emotions are high, people often lose sight of logic and reason. They become entrenched in their viewpoints, driven by pride, frustration, or fear. In these moments, humor serves as a mental reset button, breaking the cycle of aggression and inviting both parties to see the situation from a fresh angle. Think of a time when a well-timed joke turned an argument into laughter. Perhaps it was a sarcastic remark that diffused a brewing storm, or a self-deprecating comment that softened an otherwise tense exchange. Humor reminds us that we are all human, all flawed, and that sometimes taking ourselves too seriously only adds to the problem. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most disciplined Stoics, recognized that detachment from intense emotions is key to clarity. He advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Humor is one way to exercise that power, by shifting focus away from frustration and toward perspective and understanding. How to use humor like a Stoic. 1. Use humor to lighten, not to attack. The goal of humor in conflict is to reduce tension, not provoke more of it. Sarcasm, mockery, or jokes at someone else's expense will only escalate the problem. Instead, use humor to create common ground, something both parties can share in, rather than something that divides. 2. Self-deprecating humor is your safest bet. Instead of making a joke at someone else's expense, turn it on yourself. If an argument is getting heated, a simple, "Wow, I'm really passionate about this, aren't I? Maybe I should take a breath before I start giving a TED talk." This moment of levity acknowledges the intensity of the situation without diminishing its importance. 3. Recognize when humor is appropriate. Not every situation calls for humor. If emotions are too high or the subject is deeply personal, humor may feel dismissive. The key is reading the room. If the other person is still open to conversation, humor can help. If they are too deep in anger, patience and silence may be the better strategy. 4. Use irony to shift perspective. Sometimes, a light-hearted statement can highlight the absurdity of an argument without confrontation. If someone is adamantly defending a minor issue, a simple, "Yes, let's make this the hill we die on. I'm sure future historians will write about this moment." This approach allows the person to step back from their position without feeling attacked. 5. Let humor be the bridge to reason. A well-timed joke or witty remark is not meant to replace rational discussion. It is meant to create an opening for it. Once the tension is eased, shift the conversation back to logic and understanding. Now that we've survived that near-apocalyptic disagreement, let's see if we can actually find a way forward. Humor should serve as a transition, not a distraction. The Stoic perspective on humor and conflict. Humor, when used correctly, helps us detach from emotional turbulence. It creates space between the reaction and the response, allowing reason to take control once again. It is a reminder that, in the grand scheme of things, most conflicts are not worth the weight we give them. Epictetus reminds us, It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When an argument arises, we can choose to fuel the fire with frustration, or we can introduce a moment of levity that reminds everyone involved that the goal is not to win, but to understand. So the next time you find yourself in a tense exchange, take a breath. Find the humor in the situation, whether it's a light-hearted remark, a self-deprecating joke, or a simple acknowledgement of the absurdity of human conflict. A little humor can be the key to restoring peace. This is how a Stoic handles tension. Stay with us on Stoic Teachings today as we explore the next lesson in Stoic Strategies for Conflict, helping you master the art of emotional resilience and rational thinking. Number 7. Offer empathy, not just arguments. In the heat of an argument, most people focus on proving they are right. They build their case, gather evidence, and sharpen their words like weapons. But Stoicism teaches us that true mastery over conflict does not come from winning debates. It comes from understanding the other person at a deeper level. Instead of engaging in a battle of logic, a Stoic offers empathy, not just arguments. Epictetus reminds us, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This is the foundation of true wisdom in conflict. Instead of reacting impulsively, a Stoic pauses, listens, and seeks to understand. Empathy does not mean agreement. It means recognizing the emotions, motivations, and fears that drive the other person. Why empathy is more powerful than arguments. When emotions run high, logic alone is rarely enough to resolve a disagreement. People are not just persuaded by facts, they are persuaded by how they feel about those facts. If someone feels unheard or dismissed, no amount of reasoning will change their mind. But if they feel understood, they become more open to dialogue. Think about a time when someone truly listened to you, without interruption, without judgment. It felt different, didn't it? That feeling of being heard is often more powerful than any counter-argument. This is why Stoics practice detachment from their own ego and focus instead on the perspective of the other person. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever someone has done wrong, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. When you see that, you will feel compassion instead of astonishment." By looking beyond what someone is saying and into why they are saying it, we move past personal offense and into a space of rational understanding. How to apply Stoic empathy in conflict. 1. Pause before reacting. When faced with conflict, resist the urge to immediately defend yourself or argue back. Instead, take a moment to observe. What emotions are driving the other person? Is there frustration about the argument itself, or is it connected to something deeper? A Stoic maintains inner stillness and watches the situation unfold before responding. 2. Listen beyond the words. People often say one thing, but mean another. Listen not just to what they are saying, but to what they are feeling. Is there fear? Is there frustration? Are they seeking validation? A person who feels heard will naturally de-escalate. You do not have to agree with them, but you do have to understand them. 3. Acknowledge their emotions. Simply saying, "I see that this is really important to you," or "It sounds like you're frustrated because you feel unheard," can change the entire dynamic of a conflict. It shifts the conversation from a debate to a dialogue. When people feel their emotions are recognized, they are less likely to react with aggression. 4. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of jumping into a rebuttal, ask thoughtful questions. What do you think is the best solution? Or, what's really bothering you about this situation? These questions do 2 things. They encourage the other person to reflect, and they prevent the conversation from turning into a verbal battleground. 5. Detach from your own ego. One of the biggest obstacles to practicing empathy is pride. We often feel the need to prove ourselves right, to defend our position, to make sure the other person sees things our way. But Stoicism reminds us that external validation is meaningless. The goal is not to win the argument, it is to maintain your own peace while fostering understanding. 6. Recognize the universal human struggle. Everyone you meet is facing battles you cannot see. A person may be reacting out of insecurity, stress, or past trauma. Instead of taking their hostility personally, recognize that their reaction is not about you, it is about their own struggles. 7. Lead by example. When you remain calm, composed, and empathetic, you influence the energy of the entire interaction. If you refuse to engage in hostility, the other person has no fuel for their fire. Over time, your composure forces them to mirror that same level of rationality. This is the ultimate Stoic strength, not just controlling yourself, but inspiring control in others. The Stoic perspective on empathy and strength. Some people mistake empathy for weakness, believing that to acknowledge another person's emotions is to surrender power. But true strength is not found in aggression. It is found in control over one's own mind. The Stoic does not need to overpower others. They stand firm in their own calmness, no matter how turbulent the storm around them. Seneca reminds us, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Even in conflict, even when faced with anger, there is an opportunity to be the wiser, calmer, and more rational person. Practical application. What you can do right now. Think of a recent argument you had. Was your goal to be understood or to be right? How could you have approached it differently with more empathy? Practice pausing before responding. The next time you feel tension rising in a conversation, take 3 slow breaths before saying anything. This small act can change your entire response. Listen actively. For the next interaction you have today, focus on listening instead of waiting for your turn to speak. Notice how it shifts the energy of the conversation. At Stoic Teachings Today, we believe that mastering conflict is not about dominance, it is about understanding. When you choose empathy over argument, you do not lose power, you gain it. Stay with us as we explore the next powerful lesson in Stoic Strategies for Conflict, helping you navigate life's challenges with clarity, wisdom, and unshakable composure. Number 8. Master the art of compromise. In the midst of a conflict, it is easy to become rigid, clinging to our own position, convinced that yielding even slightly would be a sign of weakness. But Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies not in stubbornness, but in wisdom. The ability to compromise is not about surrender. It is about navigating toward a solution that serves both sides while maintaining inner tranquility. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. Compromise is not about losing. It is about choosing peace over unnecessary turmoil, focusing only on what truly matters, and letting go of the trivial. A true Stoic does not enter every battle with the mindset of victory at all costs. Instead, they ask, what is the greater good here? What outcome will allow both sides to move forward without resentment? Compromise is not weakness. It is strategic wisdom. It allows us to resolve disagreements in a way that protects relationships, fosters cooperation, and maintains our own mental clarity. Why compromise is a Stoic strength, not a weakness. Some people believe that to compromise is to give in, to abandon their beliefs, or appear weak in the eyes of others. But Stoicism teaches us that the ability to bend without breaking is a sign of true inner strength. A rigid tree snaps in a storm, but a flexible one weathers the winds. The Stoic learns to adjust, adapt, and move forward without sacrificing core values. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Many times, we resist compromise because we fear losing something: our dignity, our control, or our ability to influence others. But in truth, most conflicts are not about what we think they are. They are about egos, emotions, and unspoken fears. If we can see beyond these surface tensions, we can find solutions that work for everyone. Compromise is not about giving up everything. It is about letting go of what does not truly matter while securing what does. A Stoic knows when to stand firm and when to yield, always with a focus on the greater good. How to apply Stoic compromise in conflict and shift your perspective from me versus them to us versus the problem. Most conflicts are not about right and wrong. They are about two people with different needs or perspectives. Instead of treating the other person as an opponent, view the disagreement as a shared problem that both of you can solve together. This shift in mindset makes compromise not just possible, but natural. 2. Identify the core issue, not the surface argument. Often, arguments are not really about what they appear to be. What is the real issue at stake? Is it about fairness, recognition, respect, or something deeper? By identifying the true root of the disagreement, you can find solutions that satisfy both parties instead of getting stuck in unnecessary battles over minor details. 3. Know what truly matters to you and what doesn't. Not every issue is worth fighting over. A Stoic recognizes the difference between core values and temporary inconveniences. Ask yourself, is this a hill worth dying on? Will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Is my resistance coming from logic or from pride? If something does not directly impact your values or well-being, it may not be worth resisting. Choose your battles wisely and be willing to compromise on things that are not essential. Be the first to offer a middle ground. Many conflicts drag on simply because both sides are waiting for the other to make the first move. A Stoic does not wait. They take the initiative. Instead of demanding full agreement, offer a reasonable middle ground. This not only de-escalates the situation, but also gives the other person an example of how compromise can work. Detach from your ego and focus on the bigger picture. Ego is the greatest enemy of compromise. It whispers, "You must win. You must be right. If you give in, you lose." But a Stoic sees through this illusion. Winning an argument at the cost of a relationship, peace of mind, or long-term cooperation is not a victory. It is a self-inflicted defeat. Detach from the need to prove yourself and focus instead on what is truly best. 6. Use calm, rational communication. A Stoic does not argue emotionally. Speak clearly, calmly, and logically when proposing a compromise. If the other person is emotional, do not mirror their energy. Ground yourself in reason and patience. When one person remains calm, it often influences the other person to do the same. 7. Know when to walk away. Compromise is about seeking resolution, not sacrificing your well-being. If the other person refuses to negotiate in good faith, a Stoic recognizes when it is time to step back. Not all conflicts can or should be resolved. If the cost of compromise is too great, it is better to disengage than to force an agreement that harms you. The Stoic perspective on compromise and power. Some believe that power comes from never giving an inch, but Stoicism teaches the opposite. Power comes from controlling yourself, not from controlling others. The ability to compromise wisely is a form of strength because it requires emotional control, patience, and a deep understanding of human nature. Epictetus reminds us, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When we enter conflicts convinced that our way is the only way, we cut ourselves off from potential solutions, growth, and deeper understanding. A Stoic remains open, adaptable, and willing to change course when necessary. Practical application. What you can do right now. Think of a current conflict in your life. Are you resisting a solution simply out of pride? What compromises could you make that would resolve the situation without sacrificing your core values? Practice seeing conflict as a shared challenge, not a personal battle. Shift your mindset to finding solutions rather than proving points. Observe your ego. The next time you feel resistance in a disagreement, ask yourself, is this about the issue, or is this about my pride? Awareness is the first step toward mastery. At Stoic Teachings Today, we believe that true power is not found in rigidity, but in the ability to remain calm, adaptable, and wise in every situation. By mastering the art of compromise, you gain not just external peace, but internal clarity, ensuring that you navigate every conflict with grace, wisdom, and the strength of a true Stoic. Stay with us as we move into the next powerful Stoic strategy for conflict, guiding you toward a life of reason, balance, and unshakable composure. Number 9. Seek a mediator when needed. There are times when conflict reaches an impasse, when despite our best efforts, reason and clarity fail to bridge the divide. It is in these moments that a true Stoic knows when to step back and seek an outside perspective. Stoicism is not about winning battles. It is about maintaining peace within and without. And sometimes, the wisest course of action is to bring in a neutral mediator who can guide the conversation toward resolution. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone." A mediator, when chosen wisely, can help uncover the truth beneath emotions, miscommunication, and ego, leading both sides to a rational and fair conclusion. Why a mediator is a powerful Stoic tool. Some view asking for outside help as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it is a sign of wisdom and emotional control. A mediator serves as a neutral bridge between two conflicting parties, providing clarity, structure, and fairness. The Stoic does not let pride block solutions. Instead, they focus on the bigger picture, resolution, peace, and progress. Seneca reminds us, "A quarrel is quickly settled when deserted by one party. There is no battle unless there be two." A mediator removes the emotional charge from a disagreement, allowing both sides to engage in constructive dialogue instead of emotional reactions. The goal of a mediator is not to take sides, but to guide both parties toward a common ground, a solution that aligns with logic, fairness, and mutual understanding. How a Stoic chooses the right mediator. Not all mediators are created equal. A true Stoic carefully selects the right person for the role, ensuring that they are neutral and unbiased. The mediator must not favor one side over the other, but seek a balanced resolution, rational and objective. Someone who understands logic and reason rather than being swayed by emotions, respected by both parties. A figure whose judgment is trusted and valued by both individuals in conflict. Skilled in communication, someone who can listen deeply, reframe arguments constructively, and de-escalate tensions. In personal disputes, this could be a trusted friend, mentor, or professional counselor. In business or legal matters, it might be a trained mediator, a senior colleague, or an external expert. How a mediator can break the cycle of conflict. 1. They provide a fresh perspective. When two people are locked in disagreement, they often become trapped in their own perspectives. A mediator brings a new lens, helping each side see what they might be missing. They remove emotional bias. Many conflicts are fueled by ego, past grievances, or misunderstandings. A skilled mediator strips away these distractions and brings the focus back to facts, fairness, and solutions. 3. They encourage active listening. True listening is rare in conflict. Most people do not listen to understand, they listen to respond. A mediator ensures that each side truly hears and acknowledges the other before forming counter-arguments. 4. They identify common goals. Beneath every conflict lies shared interests, but they are often buried under anger and frustration. A mediator helps unearth these common values, making compromise easier and more natural. 5. They prevent escalation. Left unchecked, a small disagreement can grow into a destructive battle. A mediator stops this before it happens, steering the conversation back to rationality and resolution. The Stoic mindset. When accepting mediation, some may resist mediation out of pride, feeling that they must handle everything alone. But a Stoic sees things differently. The goal is not to prove oneself, it is to find peace. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Seeking a mediator is not a surrender of control. It is a wise and strategic action to regain it. A Stoic approaches mediation with an open mind and a willingness to listen. They do not view it as an attack on their intelligence or authority, but as a tool to reach the best possible outcome. Real-life applications: when and how to seek a mediator. Workplace conflicts. If you and a colleague are at an impasse over a project, seeking the guidance of a neutral manager can prevent further damage to your working relationship. Family disputes. If tension rises in the family, having a respected elder or counselor mediate can bring perspective and balance to the conversation. Legal or financial disputes. In legal or business matters, mediation is often the most efficient way to resolve disputes without lengthy battles. Friendship conflicts. If emotions are clouding a disagreement, involving a mutual friend who values both perspectives can create a fair and clear path forward. Practical steps. How to implement this Stoic strategy. Now, 1. Identify a current or past conflict in your life. Ask yourself, could this have been resolved faster with the help of a neutral perspective? 2. If you are currently in conflict, consider who could serve as a rational mediator. Choose someone respected, calm, and objective. 3. If a mediator is involved, commit to listening. Approach the discussion without ego or defensiveness, with the goal of resolution, not victory. At Stoic Teachings today, we believe that wisdom is found not in avoiding conflict, but in mastering the art of resolution. Seeking a mediator is not a sign of weakness, it is a mark of true strength, self-awareness, and strategic thinking. By incorporating this Stoic strategy for conflict, you gain not only clarity and peace, but also the ability to transform disagreements into opportunities for deeper understanding and growth. Stay with us as we move into the next powerful Stoic approach, ensuring that you navigate life's challenges with reason, balance, and unshakable composure. Number 10. Forgive and release the burden. Carrying resentment is like gripping a burning coal, hoping the heat will harm someone else, when in reality, it is you who suffers. The Stoic approach to conflict is not just about managing disputes, it is about transcending them. And forgiveness is the ultimate act of mastery over oneself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. A Stoic does not let anger dictate their path. They choose wisdom over vengeance, peace over resentment. True strength lies in letting go, not in holding on. The Stoic perspective on forgiveness. To a Stoic, forgiveness is not weakness. It is an act of strength, a conscious decision to release yourself from the mental chains of resentment. You cannot control what others do, but you can control how you respond. You cannot change the past, but you can change how you carry it forward. You cannot erase pain, but you can refuse to let it define you. Seneca teaches, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. By choosing to forgive, you are not excusing the wrongdoing. You are simply refusing to let it control your mind, your emotions, and your future. Why holding on to anger is self-destructive. Imagine walking through life with a heavy stone in your pocket, each conflict adding another. Over time, the weight becomes unbearable. But here's the truth. The person who hurt you is not carrying the stone. You are. The event that wounded you is in the past, but your suffering continues because you refuse to let it go. Anger and resentment take up space that could be filled with peace, clarity, and wisdom. A Stoic chooses to travel light. They do not carry bitterness, grudges, or a thirst for retribution. They understand that anger poisons the soul far more than the one it is directed at. Forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Holding on to anger is a form of self-inflicted suffering. When you forgive, you are not letting the other person win. You are setting yourself free. You regain emotional control, no longer allowing others to dictate your peace. You free up mental energy, redirecting your focus toward personal growth. You refuse to be trapped by the past, embracing the present with clarity. The true power of Stoic strategies for conflict lies in understanding that victory is not in defeating others, but in mastering yourself. How to forgive the Stoic way. Forgiveness is not an instant decision, but a process. A Stoic does not ignore pain or pretend nothing happened. Instead, they approach forgiveness with reason, discipline, and self-awareness. Shift your perspective. Ask yourself, will holding on to this anger serve me in the long run? When we let go of resentment, we do not lose anything of value. We gain peace. Recognize the imperfection of human nature. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. People are flawed, just as you are. Forgiveness is not about excusing, it is about understanding. Detach from the ego. Much of our anger is rooted in personal offense, but a Stoic asks, is my pride keeping me from moving on? Am I holding on to this because I want to prove something? Letting go does not mean you condone their actions. It means you refuse to let your ego keep you imprisoned. Learn and move forward. Every conflict is an opportunity for wisdom. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" a Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow because of it? How can I ensure I do not let this experience harden me?" Practice active release. Sometimes writing a letter you never send can help articulate emotions. Other times, meditation or simply acknowledging the act of letting go can lighten the burden. A Stoic does not wait for an apology. They reclaim their peace regardless. Real-life applications. How to implement forgiveness now in personal relationships. Instead of holding grudges, focus on what truly matters: connection, peace, and understanding. In workplace conflicts, do not let resentment poison your productivity. See challenges as opportunities for wisdom. In family disputes, choose inner harmony over proving a point. Peace in relationships matters more than winning an argument. In past trauma, let go, not for them, but for you. The past cannot be changed, but your future is still unwritten. The ultimate Stoic victory, choosing peace over war. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean reconciling. It does not mean allowing harm to continue. It means choosing your peace over your pain. When you hold on to anger, you let others control your emotional state. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. Seneca wrote, "He who does not forgive burns the bridge over which he himself must pass." We all seek understanding, patience, and compassion. To refuse to forgive others is to deny ourselves the same grace. Practical action step. Release the burden today. 1. Think of one person or situation that still weighs on your mind. Ask yourself, am I ready to let this go for my own peace? 3. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself, this is my choice. I refuse to let this control me anymore. 4. Release the burden. Move forward. At Stoic Teachings today, we believe that true freedom lies not in conquest, but in control over oneself. Let forgiveness be your final act of defiance, because nothing frustrates an enemy more than your unwavering peace. Number 11. Learn from every conflict. Every conflict carries a lesson, a hidden opportunity for self-mastery. The untrained mind sees only obstacles, only frustration, only opposition. But a Stoic sees wisdom waiting to be discovered. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The conflicts we face, no matter how small or overwhelming, are not just barriers to peace. They are invitations to become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. Why conflict is a teacher, not an enemy. Most people fear conflict, seeing it as an attack on their peace or their ego. They react defensively, impulsively, emotionally. But the truth is, every disagreement, every moment of friction, every clash of perspectives is a chance to understand ourselves better. Seneca teaches, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Just as the body grows stronger through resistance, the mind grows sharper through struggle." Conflict forces us to examine our emotional reactions. Do we control our temper, or does it control us? Test our ability to stay calm under pressure. Can we stand firm in reason, or are we easily shaken? Refine our communication. Are we expressing ourselves with clarity and wisdom, or are we driven by ego? Understand different perspectives. Can we look beyond our own biases and see the situation with greater clarity? When approached with the right mindset, conflict becomes a mirror, reflecting both our strengths and our weaknesses. And in this reflection, we find opportunities to grow, turning conflict into a source of growth. A Stoic does not seek conflict. But when it arises, they embrace it as a tool for self-improvement. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I respond better next time? What does this reveal about myself?" Epictetus reminds us, "It is not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. If we view conflict as a curse, we will suffer. But if we see it as training for the mind and soul, we will thrive." How to extract wisdom from every conflict. 1. Pause and observe. Before reacting, take a step back. Do not rush to respond. Instead, ask yourself, why is this situation triggering me? Am I reacting emotionally or rationally? What is the real issue here? By stepping back, you shift from reactive to reflective, turning the conflict into a chance for self-awareness. 2. Identify your weaknesses. Every disagreement reveals something about us. If you feel anger rising quickly, that is a sign of poor emotional control. If you feel deeply offended, that may point to ego attachment. Instead of blaming the other person, see what the conflict reveals about you. Marcus Aurelius tells us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. 3. Shift your perspective. Most arguments are not battles of right and wrong. They are clashes of perspective. A Stoic seeks to understand before seeking to be understood. What life experiences have shaped this person's viewpoint? Are they reacting from fear, insecurity, or past pain? If you were in their position, would you feel the same way? By seeing through their eyes, you gain wisdom and control over your response. 4. Let go of the need to win. One of the greatest signs of wisdom is knowing which battles are worth fighting. Ask yourself, is this argument worth my energy? What do I truly gain from proving myself right? Will this matter in a day, a month, or a year? Seneca tells us, "He who has peace of mind disturbs neither himself nor another." The goal is not to defeat the other person, it is to defeat your own ego. Real-life applications. How to learn from conflict today. At work. Instead of seeing office disputes as threats, view them as opportunities to sharpen your communication and patience. In relationships. Arguments are not about winning, they are about understanding. Use them to strengthen bonds, not weaken them. In daily life, whether it's a rude stranger or a frustrating situation, every challenge is a test of your inner strength. The Stoic mindset. See every obstacle as an opportunity. The greatest Stoics did not fear conflict, they saw it as training. Every disagreement, every moment of tension, every difficult person was an opportunity to practice self-control, wisdom, and resilience. Instead of avoiding conflict, embrace it as a tool for growth. Every challenge strengthens you, if you choose to learn from it. Seneca reminds us, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." So the next time conflict arises, do not see it as a battle to fight. See it as a lesson to absorb, because in the end, it is not the argument that shapes you, it is how you respond to it. Practical action step. Apply this today. Think about the last conflict you had, at work, with family, or in daily life. Ask yourself, what did this reveal about me? Write down one lesson you can take from it and apply in the future. At Stoic Teachings Today, we believe that true wisdom comes not from avoiding conflict, but from learning from it. Let every challenge sharpen your mind, strengthen your discipline, and bring you closer to the unshakable calm of a Stoic. Number 12. Set strong boundaries. A river without banks becomes a flood. A mind without boundaries becomes chaos. The Stoics understood that setting clear, firm boundaries is essential to maintaining peace, integrity, and self-respect. Without them, we allow external forces, people, situations, and emotions to control our thoughts, actions, and well-being. Epictetus reminds us, "No person is free who is not master of himself." True mastery begins with knowing where to draw the line, what you will accept, what you will not, and how you will protect your inner tranquility. Why boundaries are a sign of strength, not weakness. Many people mistake boundaries for walls, believing that setting limits is selfish or confrontational. But in reality, boundaries are acts of self-respect. They define how others treat us, how we allocate our energy, and what we allow into our mental and emotional space. Seneca teaches, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This wisdom emphasizes choosing relationships wisely, enforcing standards, and not allowing toxic influences to erode our character. Without strong boundaries, people take advantage of your kindness. Your energy is drained by unnecessary conflicts. You feel resentful but struggle to say no. Your emotions are dictated by the demands of others. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from self-discipline, including the discipline to protect our time, energy, and peace of mind. How to establish Stoic boundaries in daily life. 1. Define your core values. You cannot set effective boundaries without knowing what matters most to you. Ask yourself, what principles do I refuse to compromise on? What kind of treatment will I not tolerate? What activities or relationships drain my energy and well-being? These answers form the foundation of your boundaries. Without values, we drift. With them, we stand firm. 2. Communicate clearly and without guilt. A boundary is only effective if others understand it. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear confrontation. But Stoic communication is about clarity, not aggression. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Your boundaries should be expressed calmly, truthfully, and without apology. Instead of saying, "You always take advantage of me. I can't do this anymore." Say, "I can't commit to this right now, but I appreciate you asking." Instead of saying, "You never respect my time. I'm done with this." Say, "I need to set better limits on my time, so I won't be available for this." By removing blame and emotion, your boundaries become non-negotiable statements, not emotional reactions. 3. Stand firm. Don't let guilt or fear break you. Many people will test your boundaries, not because they intend to disrespect you, but because they are used to the old version of you who never set limits. The key, do not waver. Seneca warns, "He who does not prevent a wrong when he can is just as guilty of the act as if he had committed it." By allowing repeated boundary violations, you teach others that your limits are flexible. If someone reacts negatively to your boundaries, remain calm. Their emotions are not your responsibility. Do not over-explain. A simple "no, that doesn't work for me" is enough. Hold your ground. If you cave once, you'll be tested again. Over time, people learn to respect you not for your flexibility, but for your integrity. 4. Protect your time and mental energy. Marcus Aurelius teaches, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Time is the most precious resource, yet we waste it by saying yes to things that drain us. Stoics know that guarding time is guarding life itself. Consider these Stoic time boundaries. Reduce interactions with energy-draining people. Decline commitments that do not align with your values. Schedule time for yourself, reading, reflection, or silence. Ignore opinions that do not serve your growth. A Stoic does not allow external noise to disturb inner clarity. The fewer unnecessary battles you fight, the more energy you have for what truly matters. What happens when you set strong boundaries? At first, people may resist your change. They may complain, guilt trip, or accuse you of being distant, but over time, two things happen. 1. People learn to respect you more. You teach them how to treat you. You feel lighter, calmer, and more in control of your life. Setting boundaries is not about pushing others away. It's about making space for the right people, the right priorities, and the right mindset. Practical action step. Apply this today. 1. Identify one boundary you need to set. To write down a clear, concise way to express it. 3. Communicate it with confidence and without apology. Hold firm even if tested. At Stoic Teachings today, we believe that mastering your boundaries is mastering your peace. Remember, a river without banks is chaos, but a river with strong boundaries flows powerfully toward its purpose. Number 13. Control your reaction, always. A storm rages, winds howling, waves crashing violently. But beneath the surface, the ocean remains still. This is the essence of Stoicism, remaining calm while chaos unfolds around you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. No matter what happens, your reaction is always within your control. Words may be spoken against you, circumstances may be unfair, and emotions may flare, but your response is entirely your own choice. The illusion of control versus true control. Most people believe control means forcing external events to align with their desires. But the Stoics teach us that true control is not about changing the world, it's about mastering how we respond to it. Seneca states, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Often, it's not the event itself that causes pain, but our interpretation of it. Think of a long traffic jam. One person fumes, honking the horn, cursing other drivers. Another turns on calming music, accepting the delay as an opportunity for reflection. Same situation, but one person is controlled by it, while the other controls their own mind. The difference? Choice. How to take control of your reaction in any situation. 1. Pause before responding. In conflict, our natural instinct is to react immediately. But Stoics teach the power of the pause. Epictetus advises, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. When something upsets you, take a deep breath. Count to 5 before responding. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace of mind? By pausing, you shift from emotional reaction to rational response. 2. Reframe the situation. Every event has two realities, the one you create in your mind and the one that actually exists. If someone insults you, does it really harm you? Or is it your interpretation of their words that causes the pain? Marcus Aurelius teaches, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Instead of saying, they disrespected me, this is unacceptable, say, their words reflect their mind, not my worth. By shifting perspective, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. 3. Control what you can. Let go of the rest. The Stoics differentiate between what is in our control and what is not. You cannot control other people's actions, unfair situations, unexpected hardships. You can control your thoughts, your response, your attitude. Focusing on what you control removes frustration and gives you power. Reacting emotionally is surrendering control to external events, but staying calm means you own your response. 4. Choose the response that serves you. Before reacting, ask, does this response align with my values? Will this reaction make the situation better or worse? Am I responding from logic or emotion? If anger rises, observe it instead of acting on it. If frustration builds, channel it into something productive. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. When someone attacks, the Stoic does not retaliate in kind. Instead, they choose a response that reflects their wisdom, not their anger. The power of self-mastery. When you control your reaction, you no longer let others dictate your emotions. You avoid unnecessary stress and regret. You remain centered, no matter what life throws at you. It is not weakness to stay calm, it is ultimate strength. Practical action step. Apply this today. The next time something upsets you, pause, take a deep breath and observe the emotion. Reframe the situation. Does it deserve your energy? Choose a response that serves you, not controls you. At Stoic Teachings Today, we believe that true control starts within. No one can take your peace unless you let them. So master your reaction and master your life. No battle is greater than the one within. The true path to victory lies not in overpowering your enemies, but in mastering yourself. Throughout this video, we've explored Stoic strategies for conflict, ways to defeat your opponent without ever throwing a punch, without ever losing your inner peace. You've learned the power of understanding your enemy, choosing your battles wisely, speaking with clarity, seeking common ground, and appealing to core values. You've discovered how humor, empathy, and compromise can be tools of strength, not weakness. You've seen why setting boundaries, mastering your reactions, and even knowing when to forgive can turn conflict into wisdom. But knowledge alone is not enough. The real test begins when you apply these principles to your daily life. When conflict arises, will you react impulsively, or will you pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your values? Will you allow others to dictate your emotions, or will you claim full control over your own mind? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength is not found in domination. It is found in self-discipline, wisdom, and restraint. The most powerful person is the one who cannot be provoked. Imagine walking into every confrontation, calm, unshaken, in full control of your emotions. Imagine leaving without bitterness, without regret, only with clarity and peace. This is what Stoicism offers. This is the power of mastering yourself. Now, it's time for action. The next time you face conflict, pause, observe, ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? Then choose the path of wisdom, not for them, but for yourself. If you found value in today's lesson, like this video and subscribe to join Stoic Teachings Today, where we turn ancient wisdom into modern strength. Leave a comment below. Which strategy resonated with you the most? Your insights could help someone else on their Stoic journey. Remember, your greatest victory is not defeating others, it's mastering your own mind.